All right, so I know I'm about to contradict myself with this next segment, but I think for the most part, we're overwhelmed with the reboots or the retellings or the sequels or the prequels that are all coming out. It's a little much, and that seems to be all that Hollywood is cranking out. But it looks like they may be trying to please modern audiences with a lot of these. Y'all see my dog, right? Big old scary pit bull. Ain't nothing but a little baby. He's my little boy. Hey, Ace. But they're rebooting a lot of the Universal monsters, or they're working on it. They've talked about it before. They tried to do it. It didn't work with some of the stuff. What was it? The Dark Universe? I think with the Mummy, that wasn't very good at all, despite the people involved. But here's one real quick that they are trying to reboot right now. Get pulled up. Bride of Frankenstein. It's being remade by Maggie Gyllenhaal. You probably know Maggie Gyllenhaal from The Dark Knight. She was in Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal's sister, obviously, and several other things. No doubt, a talented actress. I'm not going to knock any of that at all. But as Bounding Into Comics points out right here, Bride of Frankenstein remake about radical social change, and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, entering production. So they are working on this right now, or at least in pre-production for it, and I've got a cast that's getting pulled together. We'll look at a little bit of it here. And again, as you read it, remember that a lot of this reboot stuff and retelling seems to be more for the modern audience. See if there's any verbiage in here that catches your attention. It's alive. Universal's Dark Universe fell apart, but one of its pet projects is going forward under the direction of the Dark Knight's Maggie Gyllenhaal as her second feature. According to Fangoria, a remake of The Bride of Frankenstein moves into production next month with a star-studded cast, written, produced, and directed by Gyllenhaal. The film will star Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, Jessie Buckley, Gyllenhaal's husband Peter Sarsgaard, and reportedly Annette Bening. A summary on productionlist.com offers insight into what part each of them is playing. A horror thriller about the Bride of Frankenstein, with Cruz as the bride Myrna, Bale as Frankenstein, and Sarsgaard playing a detective, it reads. Benning's role is a secret for now. Boris Karloff. Awesome. Anyways, an IMDb listing that only refers to the project as Untitled Maggie Gyllenhaal Project adds that it will be set in 1930s Chicago. This listing also provides a summary that offers more clues as to the film's tone and themes. In 1930s Chicago, Frankenstein asked Dr. Euphonius to help create a companion. They give life to a murdered woman as the bride, sparking romance, police. Man, I'm just not on it today. Sparking romance, police interest, and radical social change. Says IMDb. The premise sounds similar to Poor Things, in which Frankenstein experiment revives Emma Stone's character with the brain of a fetus and turns her into an impulsive, sex-crazed brat. That and the talk of radical social change raises red flags about the movie we're dealing with. Since the collapse of the Dark Universe concept, Hollywood has been trying to revive old Universal monster properties in novel ways. Last year's crack at Dracula were hit and miss, but weren't positively woke. The Invisible Man was a smash and a riveting thriller, though it wore its feminism on its sleeves at times. Where they are going with all those loose reworkings of Frankenstein could bog down the revival of the classic monsters and the tired tropes the industry has been steadily alienating all fandoms with. Is this one better dead? Tell us your thoughts. All right, Bounding Into Comics, here's my thoughts. The whole social part of it, the conversation that's getting started, that I can almost guarantee is in there, is unnecessary to the story. It is going to be put in for ESG to check that box, whatever it is, because we've got to have the conversation, right? Just make a good movie. Just make a good freaking movie. Okay. We're not trying to put all this crap in there the audience is tired of it. You want to talk about being bogged down? The audience isn't just bogged down of, Frankenstein reboots or this reboot or that. We're bogged down of that same old crap that just gets increasingly worse. More social justice engineering, virtue signaling. We're tired of it. No one wants to hear it, but yet you keep peddling it out there, and the audience that you're trying to appeal to lives on Twitter, lives on Instagram, lives on TikTok. They're not the ones spending money to go see your movies. They're the ones out there criticizing you and saying that you need this and that. And when they boycott your movie, it's okay because they weren't going to go see it anyway. But when you keep putting crap out, the people that want to spend their hard-earned money are not going to spend it on your virtue signaling propaganda project. And if this is any indication of what's to come, this radical social, what did it say? Radical social change. Red flag. Red flag. Bounding into Comics. Great article. For sure. Great write-up on that one. But yeah, one more part of this and we'll move on. This is from Pop Culture Junkie. Warner Brothers says I do to Maggie Gyllenhaal's Bride of Frankenstein movie after Netflix jilts the project. Netflix may have known what they were doing with this one, even though they've got their own issues as well. Just reading the first part here. Here comes the bride. Warner Brothers joins Universal and Lionsgate studios that are also producing films based on the classic monster movies of the 1930s. Maggie Gyllenhaal is directing a Bride of Frankenstein update that will begin filming soon. The film was once promised to Netflix, but the streamer reportedly dropped it due to a lack of star power, which I'm confused with if you got Christian Bale and Annette Bening and all those guys in there, Penelope Cruz. However, Deadline reported Saturday that Annette Bening is the latest cast member to sign onto the roster that now includes Jessie Buckley in the title role, along with Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, Peter Sarsgaard. Right? Where is what I wanted to see? Warner Brothers reportedly picked up the project, which is yet untitled, in an effort to have more movies about and directed by women. Movies about and directed by women, having learned how successful that formula could be, as last year's top movie was their Greta Gerwig helmed Barbie. Now, they're not wrong. Barbie was the biggest film last year. It was very, very successful for them. My wife and daughter, God, they've watched it like 4 or 5 times now, at least. They love it, and a lot of people do. I mean, it did over $1 billion. Very successful movie. That's one example, right? Just one example. There's some other examples that I don't know how closely they paid attention to about woman-led films written, directed by women, women focused. When you make films that are all about that, that's all they're about. You lose so much of it. Here's a couple of examples that I know they couldn't possibly be referring to as successful, women-driven, women-led, women-directed films. How about Black Widow? Box office Black Widow is either 2021's most successful disappointment or its most disappointing success. Directed by Kate Shortland. If you can't tell, female. The Eternals. Los Angeles Times says why Eternals is a box office disappointment for the blockbuster MCU. Directed by Chloe Zhao, female. The Marvels. In Variety, The Marvels ends box office run as lowest grossing MCU movie in history. Directed by Nia DaCosta, female. Or maybe they meant the excitement around these hyped up films that are coming out that are written, directed by women, starring women, focused on women, like Madam Web, doing worse than infamous Marvel flop, directed by S.J. Clarkson, female. Or the Ray Palpatine-led Star Wars film, or films, however they go with it. Again, but from Variety, Daisy Ridley's new Star Wars director says it's about time we had a female filmmaker come forward to shape the galaxy far, far away, and that is Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. And of course, that has not been getting received well. Aside from all the garbage that Star Wars pumped out recently that the fans are not excited about, that announcement, not just because Daisy Ridley, she seems like she seems like a sweetheart. Don't get me wrong. I don't think a lot of people love the character of Rey, how Rey was built, how Rey was portrayed, how they ended everything with Rey, and to know that they're bringing her back to lead this new film or series has already got them in a knot. And then to have the focus being female led, female written, female directed, it's just not looking to be a successful combination over and over again, enough for them to point it out. Now, Barbie, I think, is more so the exception than the rule. And I will say there are plenty of very, very successful blockbuster films, or just successful films in general, that were directed by women, that may or may not have featured, a woman lead or about womanhood or anything like that. I think when the focus is just telling a good story, you get things like Wonder Woman. You get things like American Psycho, which I absolutely love that movie, and my wife is terrified that I do. But when the focus is just telling a freaking good story, that's going to go a lot farther than all the virtue signaling and I am woman, hear me roar. So take that for what it's worth. Don't know how the new Universal monster launch is going to go, but definitely some red flags with that one. Hey, while I got you guys, I want to talk to you about another partner that I'm really, really excited to work with, Gruntworks Meat Company. You may have heard me talk about it before. Got a discount code for you here. Mayhem 10 is going to get you 10% off everything that they have. Let me tell you, if you like quality meats, but you would prefer to pay grocery store prices, these are the guys to check out. They've got everything from ground beef to brisket to short rib. They've even got organs. And I say that not to gross anybody out, but if you're on the carnivore diet, you probably looked into trying, or you are actively eating the organs, which is awesome. And if you're not into organs, that's fine too. But they've got quite a variety of all kinds of beef. It's local U.S. Grown, grass-fed, Wagyu, Angus. They got the regular cuts, pasture raised, never antibiotics, hormones, GMOs, or pesticides. Fantastic company, fantastic product. And when I say grocery store prices, every item is going to vary, of course, no question about it. But I can get ground beef from them, top-notch quality ground beef from them, and it's just simple ground beef, right? Significantly cheaper than what I can at the Kroger right down the street. So for a top quality meat company to offer a better product at the same or lower prices, I'm all about it. And not only do they tout how they're, made in America, everything's grown in America and everything like that, they're also a very veteran focused company. So 10 cents of every pound of every meat that they sell, they donate to a veterans organization that they work with. They also have veterans that help co-found or whatnot, Gruntworks, that they work hand in hand with. So they're a great company to do business with. If you're into the meats, definitely go check them out, and then make sure you use discount code Mayhem10 to get 10% off your entire order. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.